What's up guys, SKNOVA here. Since the event this weekend was the Dungeon Divers event, which I think is an awesome one, everybody can probably complete this one. It gives you a good reason to level characters, gives you a good reason to go in the dungeons and grind some gear, and as you can see I've completed it. The way that I did it was mostly just through leveling characters. I happened to get a legendary last week, I believe. I was still working on some of the clan boss characters. So I was working on my Juliana and Aethel. And so big one over here didn't get any love until this past weekend. So I sort of power leveled him, he still has some crappy gear on him. I need to switch that out. Actually, never even thought about it, but I should put a... Oh man, I do have two banners. Let's toss it on there and upgrade it. This is sort of a slow, boring part. You've all done this. I was going to throw 4 on there just so we get something. Hopefully it's one of the HP or attack percentage ones. Awesome. Good, that makes them a little even better. What I want to do in this video was show you some of the dungeons. I've pretty much done all of the dungeons at level 15 except for... What's up guys, SKNOVA here. Since the event this weekend was the Dungeon Divers event, which I think is an awesome one, everybody can probably complete this one. It gives you a good reason to level characters, gives you a good reason to go in the dungeons and grind some gear, and as you can see I've completed it. The way that I did it was mostly just through leveling characters. I happened to get a legendary last week, I believe. I was still working on some of the clan boss characters. So I was working on my Juliana and Aethel, and so big one over here didn't get any love until this past weekend. So I sort of power leveled him, he still has some crappy gear on him. I need to switch that out. Actually, never even thought about it, but I should put a... Oh man, I do have two banners. Let's toss it on there and upgrade it. This is sort of a slow, boring part. You've all done this. I was going to throw 4 on there just so we get something. Hopefully it's one of the HP or attack percentage ones. Awesome. Good, that makes them a little even better. What I want to do in this video was show you some of the dungeons. I've pretty much done all of the dungeons at level 15 except for Spider's Den, which I probably could do, but it'd just be super painful. Pretty much everything except for Spiders and Fire's Night I can auto farm. So Dragon's Lair 15, I can now auto farm it in a minute 58. Ice Golem's Peak, I can auto farm it, what's it, 149. So those are pretty easy ones to farm, and I actually did, I think I did about 100 auto Dragon's Lair, and I could probably throw up some of the gear that I got. Just to show you sort of an idea of the ratios of 5 stars. You still get some 4 stars, you still get lots of rares, you still get epics. So based off my small sample size, I'd say about 3 out of 4 pieces of gear will be 5 star, 1 out of 4 will be 4 star, and about 3 out of 4 will be rare, and 1 out of 4 will be epic. So that ratio is kind of what I noticed, at least for Dragon's Lair, out of the 100 or so runs I've done on stage 15. But what I want to talk about today is one of the harder dungeons, which is this guy, Fyro in the Fire Knight's Castle. And there's actually a few really good sets in here that you can't get anywhere else in the game, so definitely worth doing. I kind of would love to have some more crit damage gear. I'm still looking for a shield chest for my Sir Nicholas, for example. And stuff like stun regeneration. There's a quest, I believe, to get the regeneration, a 4-piece regeneration set on somebody, on a HP character. All the pieces have to be 5 star, so you need to farm Fyro here in order to get that. Savage is a great piece. I actually don't have any yet. The stun debuff would be great in arena, especially on excuse me, AoE type heroes. And I've got a few frenzy pieces. This crit damage is only a 2-piece set with plus 20% crit damage, which I think is awesome, especially on characters that already have super high crit. Shield's a great set. Immunity I've never really seen anyone use. Curing never really seen anyone use, or Fury, but most of the sets are pretty good. So, given that, as you progress to the harder stages, I had a hard time getting past stage 13. I think that's sort of a stumbling block for a lot of people. There is a progress mission, or not progress mission, quest, I guess, in order to pass stage 13. The problem with stage 13 is that it's a force boss. So a lot of the AoE damage heroes you have will probably be magic. At least that was the case for me. Unless you're lucky and to have gotten a void AoE hero like Bellower, or who else? Skullcrown, off the top of my head. Those two would be pretty good. And the other thing that I did stage 13 kind of early on. I got a Talia, who was the wrong affinity, and I helped use her because I needed the 3 hit. Aethel would have also been possible there, but being off affinity, it was tough. And the way that I did it, there's Jizo, which is that free second week character you get that can put counterattack on somebody. So I used him plus Cold Heart, just trying to figure out how to break through his shield. Though the 10 hit shield was more of the problem for me, and then had a bunch of force heroes to beat him. So here is my makeup for the stage 15 Fyro. Big Un here, having leveled him up, is actually a really good choice. My Fushan is pretty awesome. Bad L's awesome. I use Tayrel for the... So Tayrel and Big Un both have a turn meter reduction ability, which is super important on this guy. I think without that, it's going to take a long time to get through. You also need really good healing. So I'd say either Bad Alcazar or Doom Priest would be the good ones here. Maybe Thanasil as a third option. Possibly some other legendaries I don't have. I think Rask would probably struggle a little bit here just because he's the wrong affinity. But he can probably be used if he's your own hero. So we'll get started here. We'll clear the boring trash stuff. Well, we talked about it a little bit. Maybe I'll fast forward through this part if it's really not that exciting. But in a lot of these dungeons, actually the trash is harder than the boss. And if you lose a character in the trash, you basically have to restart. Not all the time. I did lose, so Big Un does occasionally die. I found if I used, especially in the second stage, if I don't save some of my AoE abilities, Big Un was going down. So it helps with Bad Alcazar here. He puts poison on everybody. Everybody does additional damage to the poison characters. They still like to attack Big Un here. And I probably should take out this guy if I can. There we go. It's one down. So you can see I saved Fushan's ability on that first one. I can't remember the 2 guys that are in the front there, but usually those are the higher damage dealers. In this one, there's Fushan's ability. I think it's is it Magus that's in the back? Can't remember. Oh, should attack the other guy, but that's okay. He might get one AoE hit off, yeah. Not a big problem. All is good. Now here's the main Fyro part. So the biggest thing that made this easy for me was getting Giant Slayer. So what I noticed is Tayrel's hit here is normally 3, and it kind of glitches his shield a little bit. So his 3 hit actually did 5 hits because of Giant Slayer. So Giant Slayer procs count as extra hits there. Bad Alcazar got an extra hit. Fushan just got the 1 hit in there. I need to work on Big Un's crit a little bit there, because it's not 100% yet, so he still misses. I think it's only 85, which is too low to have for an ability that you need to have 100% on. There's another 5 hit. So I usually let the first one go, and then try to use all my turn cooldown abilities on the second turn here. So far, so good. There's Tayrel's. So he takes off his turn meter. Now I can bump up Aethel's damage. And now this is when you want to get all the debuffs on him. Any poisons, HP burn, anything like that you have. Use the defense down. Didn't land. That's unfortunate. They want the defense down, so there's the 2 turn meter abilities. Tayrel can use his defense down. Now it shouldn't be so bad. So Fu Shan's ability has a chance for an extra attack, 25% chance. I do notice fairly regular procs of like 4 hits. Excuse me. Tried to use his ability there again. So I have his mastery where skills get put on cooldown, and it looks like that was what happened there. And there we go. That was a fast one. So sometimes he does go into a 3rd stage, and we get the mystery shards. So terrible option. There you go. I'm gonna go sneeze, and then we'll record the next video. Alright, we're back. I don't know what was acting up there, but I had to sneeze. Here we are on the Spider Lair 14. So not doing a 15 yet, just wanted to show this. I feel like I'd struggle with a 15. I've actually never tried it. I've done a lot of 14s here. My Fu Shan still needs a banner. It's kind of sad after, 180 to 200 or whatever runs of the Spider Lair that I've done. He still doesn't have a banner. That's okay. So again, Big One made a huge difference here, helped out a lot. Before him, I was thinking I was doing the level before. It was the Force version or the Void. Oh yeah, so for Spirit and Void, I was using the Royal Huntsman, who also has an AoE ability, and he has a pretty good single target attack as well. And you kind of play it a bunch and find a kind of a routine that works. So I'm just going to show you. I also have Zargala, so I was using her a little bit. She's not super geared, and I think you really need her geared up. For those of you that don't know, her A1 is a single hit. It has a weaken debuff, which is a low percent chance, I think 25% chance or something, unskilled to proc. Her A2, if it kills an enemy, triggers her A3, which is a attack all and put a 60% decreased defense, or chance to at least. And your A3 is attack all, decreased defense. So you have 2 options to do AoEs, but the second one relies on you killing an enemy. So it's almost like she's perfectly made for the spider boss. And she would actually be a pretty good choice here. This is kind of where she would shine. And potentially if I want to do the Force stage 15, I would use her. I also have Nizana, who's here only level 40, and Sanisha, both of which have AoE attacks, and both would also be good choices for the stage 15. But I probably want to gear them up to at least level 50, because I think they would just die too easily. However, we are just doing 14 with this makeup here. So Bad Alcazar and Big Un are my 2 big AoE damage dealers. Fu Shan, all of them have an AoE attack. So that's sort of the way that I've chosen the heroes for this one. Bad Alcazar is just crazy awesome, and I use them on everything. So what I often do here, that's too bad, is because I already have the shield buff from Sir Nicholas, I just let basically the spiders hit, unless I get a good proc by Big Un there or something like that, and there's no point wasting all my abilities trying to kill these spiders when they don't really do any damage, and then he heals up to nearly full health anyways. So I just kind of let it ride, let them go. Actually, this one's turning to be pretty good. It's better than I thought. So I don't use normally don't use my abilities, not always. Doesn't always go that well. I've geared up some of the characters since I've last done this, so that is another good sign. So here we'll try to pop on the defense down. Doesn't land. That's okay. We have another shot at it. There we go. So we want to get that on. We want to get the poisons on everything we can. And sure, let's use the turn down. Right. Give us an extra turn here. Clear out all the spiders. Big One's really getting leveled up here. I'm going to save the shield because there's not much point using it yet. Gonna save his AoE and just try for some more damage. And let's use his turn down ability. Why not? Give us another round. So we'll see. Kind of have to judge when they start hitting. So Big Un still kind of dies from spiders. Well, he was still level 50 last time I tried this, I think, so it's been a few turns. Clear everything up there. Still good. Because the spider has his speed down from Big Gun's ability, I believe. You don't have to worry too much. He's got 2 turns before he... 2 full slow turns before he actually heals again. So it should be pretty easy mode. I mean, not all those procs don't always land. So a lot of times I have to be a little more careful in terms of when I use my abilities and plan them to have them up for that final round. I find it sometimes difficult to figure out exactly when things are going to land or when the spider's going to go. So you end up with a hero or two that doesn't have an AoE ability or can't take out the spiders, and then he heals a bunch, and it's just annoying because it adds another couple minutes to the fight. The goal for me is to try to make these as fast as possible with the characters that I have. And so far, I mean, I've also had 10-minute plus spider boss runs before. Now that my characters have Giant Slayer and they're more geared, it's a little bit less common. I'm trying to think of which characters I have that can make this even faster. But what I really want is probably another really good AoE hero. Ideally Void. I mean, ideally I want to be able to farm the... let's just use this. Farm Sage 15 all the time. So I probably need to build a team with less magic heroes because of its forced affinity. So ideally I'd have some Void heroes. And if there was a good AoE Spirit hero out there, might be a legendary one. Can't think of off the top of my head, then that would be ideal. So there you have it. 4 minutes with talking, and I get a Dark Elf banner. Not the Lizard Men banner that I was hoping for, but still not too shabby. It's too bad it's not epic. But yeah, so there you go. There's the spider's lair. And honestly, so I struggled with stage 14 and 15 a lot. I mean, I think I could do 14 prior to getting Giant Slayer. It's just really, really difficult. It took a long time. Those are the 10-12 minute fights where the spider boss would probably heal 3 or 4 times before I finally got him down. And I'd have to have cooldowns perfectly and maybe a little bit of luck. And it was not very fun. Not that it, after running it so many times, not that it's ever super, super fun. But it wasn't until Giant Slayer that everything became way easier. So that was the same for Fire Knight. So Fire Knight, I struggled all the way up to 13. I think one of my early videos, you can see me actually clearing Fire Knight 13 for the first time. And that was tough. Dragon Slayer, I did a 14. I was doing 13s and 14s without too much trouble. I think I could even auto them most of the time. Same thing with the Golem, Ice Golem 13. And so I could auto attack, so that made things easier. I could do other things while just pressing the attack or the replay button. Minotaur was probably the easiest out of all 5 of these. And so I was doing that in conjunction with 13s and 14s. And so for the Minotaur Lair, what's my makeup currently? Yeah, so I usually have Fushan was getting him toward made the game much easier for me. After I geared him up, he does crazy high damage. Use him in most scenarios possible, and then Bad Alcazar was totally game changing, and I've used him in pretty much every instance, even in the affinities where he's not good against. So against spirit dungeons, just the fact that his heal is so good, and if there's poisons on, everyone else does more damage. There's no real stage that he's not useful. So he's in pretty much every single team. In fights where I needed sort of that protection or healing, I didn't want to lose people early on. So stuff like where you have a lower level character not fully geared up, 60 or something like that you're pulling through the dungeon to try to get Giant Slayer. Sir Nicholas is great to keep everyone alive. And even when I first started before getting Giant Slayer, he's kind of the one that helped me pass most of the dungeons. So absolutely fantastic hero. I do also have Shamrock. I don't know if he's in my Oh yeah. I've never really used Shamrock for anything, to be honest. I just haven't found a really good niche for him. I think people are starting to figure out how to use him in Arena. It seems like if he's skill tuned up, he gets much better. His chance at all of his buffs landing doubles, basically, I think. So I think he's usable. And one thing that was also interesting, before I got Bet Alcazar, I actually had Executioner in this lineup, and Vrask. So what was my original lineup? It was probably something like this. These two, and I think I had, yeah. So Fushan and the Royal Huntsman were my first two legendaries I got from Shards. I got them after I had fused Sir Nicholas. I think after I had fused Shamrock even. I fused Shamrock as fast as I possibly could. And then after those two I got Bet Alcazar. And after that I just recently got Big Un. And yeah. I mean, Minotaur Lair's not that exciting. I won't show you guys the fight. You've probably seen it many times before. Nothing really changes. Just basically survive and then burst him down. If you're attacking on auto, there's oftentimes I can now burst him down before I even get to the burst phase. And there you go. I'm not sure if I've shown, probably have Dragon's Lair and Ice Columns Peak. Those ones people probably see. The point of this video was just sort of to illustrate what kind of team to use. And it's really tough, right? Because no one's going to have all the exact same heroes. So obviously Fire's Knight's Castle, the character that sort of helped get over that hump, that stage 13, which was where I was struggling, was probably Jizo. Jizo. Good old Jizo Jizo. So I leveled him to 50, never put any really many potions or anything into him. I gave him this Avenging set, just because I figured I wouldn't be giving it to anybody else. And I think I just geared him for survivability, so defense, Endure, HP, crit rate, and speed. I ranked it up to 12, so I spent a little bit of an investment, but not much. And his sole purpose at the time was to put counterattack. So this counterattack buff that you can put on another ally is really good. Of course, if you have a legendary that can do this, or a what's his name? Skull Crusher? The Organ Tribes guy that has the all counterattack. Yeah, Skull Crusher. So if you can use him and put his counterattack buff, and you have, 2 or 3 guys that have 2 or 3 hits, it can make those rounds very good. But you have to pair it with someone who has turn meter down, so that you can take full advantage of that shield being down on the Fire Knight. Cool. Hope that video helps you with some of the dungeons. I can also do one for the the potion keeps as well, but I don't think that's as complicated as Fire Knight and Spider. And it's probably pretty obvious the strategy: go get Giant Slayer, which is probably terrible because people are dreading that grind. I know I did. I mean, after you get your first 5, it gets much faster. Still tedious, but much faster to level up new characters after that. So after I got my first 5 sort of leveled up, I was able to swap characters in. Became much faster, but it is probably was, a 25, 30, 35 hour grind to get those first 5 leveled. And after that, it's somewhere around, it's hard to tell. I always do it broken up into pieces. I don't really sit down and do it all at once, but 6 to 8 hours, I'd say, of a grind in the Lair. There's a lot of times I've obviously bought packs, so I have packs that give you the 1500 energy or the 1000 energy, and I'll use that, and I'll just sit there watching TV or doing something else or working and tapping the replay button whenever it comes up, and that's how I grinded through all of this stuff. And there you go. So I just realized I've hit my 6th 6-star today. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 50s. I don't know if I have any other 50s in the vault. Oh, I do. 14, 15, 16, 17 50s. Jeez, I play this game too much. Most of the epic characters come from leveling them in the pit quite a bit of time. I might put a few levels into them and level them individually, just kind of like, I don't know, just for the sake of keeping them organized at the top of the list. That's a kind of a silly reason. But yeah, so that, I mean, I have a lot of good characters I would like to try out at some time. Like Rowan here is a person I'd like to try out. Nazana is another person I'd like to try out. This Verges guy, he looks really cool. Just didn't seem that good to me. Hellgazer again. I think she'd have a niche ability. What was it? Her third one here. Oh yeah. Every time she crits. So in the spider boss, potentially I was like, oh man, she could attack twice. But she only has the one AoE ability, and then she would attack for a single hit. So if this was only her A1 and she had infinite attacks, that would be overpowered. So I mean, it could be useful. I think planning ahead to try to finish stage 15 of the Spider's Lair, Nazana seems like the best choice. And I've also seen her used in Arena recently, and with her ally protection buff. That seemed, in a very defensive team, seemed pretty awesome. I don't know how they were geared exactly, but I definitely struggled killing that one. And had Nazana, so I know she's ranked as a fairly good character, so she might be someone I work on next. Also, I don't know if you guys noticed, but I have a crap load of Sacred Shards, and I'm holding on to them to do a opening all at once, and I'm thinking I will do it when 2 days from now, when I complete this monthly quest, and I will have 8 of them, and I'll have 2 Void Shards. And the Ancient Shards I don't really care as much about, so I just open them randomly like this. And the rares usually just become food characters. Yeah, especially if they're farmable like Sorceress. I don't worry about too much. So I do kind of want to save them for the next summoning event. I tend to need about 1 or 2, maybe 1 Sacred and a couple Voids or something would be enough with all the Mystery Shards that I'll probably end up farming up. Yeah, so we'll look forward to that. 8 new Epic, maybe a Legendary down the road. So cool, guys. Hope you like these videos, and we'll see you in the next one.